Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, there's an interesting one to jump on because this is just a discussion thing. I haven't got the top and tail thing because I'm just going to film it. I'm not going to edit it. I'm just going to put it out there. So we'll see what happens. But this is a response video to a bunch of videos I've seen over the last couple of days. And my most recent one was Kelly from Books I'm Not Reading. But before that, I saw Michael K. Vaughan did a video. Both of those were more positive spins on a discussion that's been happening on Booktube over the last few days, which is kind of why people are quitting or might quit, why they're staying, why they might be undecided about staying, why they just hang on, just about clinging on, and you know what the issues are around that. And it started by Shelley Swearingen, who's got a very big channel and a very good channel. And I saw a response from her from Mark from Book Time with Elvis, who you may have seen on my channel a few times, and Brian from Bookish, who's also been on my channel sometimes, and he did a really good video as well. And I think those are, yeah, and I saw a couple that I haven't seen yet, that their channels I don't know, that have done that kind of thing as well. So I haven't seen those videos yet. But those are the ones I've wanted to respond to, because basically I'm not really necessarily going to contradict them, and I might repeat what they've said in some ways, but I did feel like it's interesting when Booktube talks to itself anyway. I do think it's an interesting thing because it is quite a special, peculiar thing that we do, and I think it's worth discussing. So there are a few particular points that have come up, so I'll talk about those, and I'll talk about how I see Booktube and why I love it and why I think it's a really positive thing, and why at the moment I can't imagine not doing it, but I know why people would quit. And I know that if something went really badly wrong, I might. So if, I don't know, somebody started being really nasty to me or something, and it got a bit hectic and there was conflict involved, then I might. But so far that's not really happened, which is great. So people are lovely, and people in the comments have been lovely. I've had a few weird ones, but people have been really lovely. I've got a weird thing at the moment, actually. See, I told you I'm not going to edit this. I've got a weird thing with some guy. I think it's one guy. It might be two guys. I don't know. This count keeps changing. But I've got this one guy that keeps putting weird comments in the live streams and on my videos. And I'm kind of, it's odd because they're not abusive, but they're just weird. And they're clearly spammy. And it feels very teenagery. And what worries me is because I'm a teacher, I don't want someone connected to my teaching job mocking me on here. That's what worries me. So that's happening, but it's not outright abuse, and it's definitely not making me want to quit. But I wouldn't want my day job to interfere, you know, where they're saying you shouldn't have a public forum like this. That would be really hectic. I don't want that to happen. So I don't want any hassle from anyone putting anything random on my comments to make me worry about that kind of thing. So that's a thing. But I haven't had outright abuse or you know, anything that's made me doubt whether or not it's a lovely place, because Booktube is a lovely place. And I've jumped to the defense for a couple of people that have had some abuse or some unkind treatment or misplaced treatment or badly delivered treatment. And some people that have doubted something they've put up, and they've messaged me and said, oh, is that right? Should I take that down? And I said, no, don't take it down. It's fine. You know, that kind of thing. And I had also a friend of mine, I won't name them because I don't think they'd want to be named, but I had an email from someone doubting whether or not to carry on the channel because their views weren't very good and their subs weren't very good. And I said, keep going, because if you're enjoying it, keep going. And they did keep going, and now their subs are up and their views are up and they're enjoying it. And they're not massive, but they're big enough to enjoy it, because I think that's one of the things that you've got to stick with it. I think Mark might have said this, and I think Mike might have said this, that if you keep going and you are passionate about what you're doing and you talk to other channels as well and you engage with other people, then those numbers will grow and you can feel much better about the activity of what you're doing, because you don't want to just talk to nobody, and it does take effort to put these videos out. even now with me doing this, I'm not going to edit it or anything, but it'll still take me an effort to do it. And when I finished filming it, it'll take a while to put it on the system and to write the description or whatever, and blah blah blah. It takes a little bit of time. The ones that take a lot of time, clearly you definitely want people to watch them if you spent hours researching something, or you did spend hours editing it, or you tried to make it look really nice, or if you spent time editing yourself. So you may have, I just had a shave. I am deeply aware of my appearance, not having a particularly high self-esteem. I don't like my appearance, but I do my best, and that's a thing that you put yourself out there. And I haven't had any abuse for my appearance, I don't think. I did in a video of the Beamers channel. Someone wrote a really unkind comment about my appearance, but in general I don't get that really, which is nice. But I don't like my appearance. I don't like my teeth. I don't like my hair. Blah 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 blah. So it does take a bit of willpower to do that as well, especially if you look at something afterwards and think, oh my god, I need to do that again, because of something about that kind of thing. So you do want people to see it if you feel like it's good enough to go out, and it's the whole point is about engagement. Otherwise you just send the video to yourself. So I get that it can be demoralizing if those numbers aren't going up, and you can't really, in a lot of ways, I'd say, from my experience, you can't really predict it. So I've been doing these film videos, for example, recently, and a couple of them went well for me. They were up to 200-300 views, which is good for me. And then the one I've just done is like sitting there on 60 views, and it's like, well, does that mean people don't want to see them? Should I take it off? Should I leave it? I'll leave it. But you do start doubting yourself whether or not you're putting out the content people want to see, or whether you're just talking to yourself. So I do get that the subs and the numbers do matter to people, and it can result in you not wanting to do it anymore. But I think there is a lot of truth in keeping going if you're enjoying it. If you're not enjoying it, don't do it anyway. But if you're enjoying it, keep going, because those numbers will rise, and they'll go up and down as well until you get like lots and lots of subs, like people like Ollie from Criminali and Mike from OK Vaughan. Brian as well is probably quite secure now. Shelley definitely is. So those people, they're going to get consistent views because their numbers are high enough, their sub numbers are high enough. So I think Mike said he averaged between 1,000 and 3,000 views. I mean, that's a lot of people. So if you got that, then you're pretty secure. So until you get that, you will get a fluctuation. You'll get some that don't do so well, some that do so well. But I would say if you really want to put that stuff out, then those people that did watch it might really like it. And if it's not tons of people, but the people that did watch it liked it and they got something out of it, then that's value in the video. I've said before in the videos I did, well, the Twilight Zone videos actually. So the Twilight Zone videos, they fluctuate, and I've done a whole series where I've done a deep dive on the show because I love it so much. And there's like 6 or 7 people that regularly comment, and some of the videos have done well, some of them haven't. I can't see any reason why that particular one did well, that particular one didn't do well. So it's just put it out there. If you're enjoying it, do it, So that's the only way I can see it really, because again, it's about the process. I enjoy thinking about which videos I'm going to do. It's the weekend now. I'm going to film, hopefully going to film 4 videos, I think, hopefully. That'll be spread through the month, and I'm kind of excited about the content of what I'm going to talk about. So there's 2 in particular, but there's one that I decided to do today that I'm really excited to film, and I sent a message to Mike saying I'm going to do this because I know he likes the author as well, and just sharing the fact I'm going to do it got me more excited. So that part of it, the passion of talking about the books you love or the authors you love, and sharing that with somebody else, live streams when you've buddy read a book or group read a book is awesome. The private chats when you buddy read a book, and they come from Booktube because you meet these people on Booktube and then you privately buddy read with them and that kind of thing. Buddy reading The Invisible Man by Ralph Ellison with Kim from Middle of the Book March was a wonderful experience. That kind of thing that's all part of this, you know. So it's not just about views, because it's all this other thing that happens, these friendships you make, the engagement you make with the people who comment, as well as the people who are also content creators, you know, the other booktubers. Those people become friends, and that's just awesome. And you're making friends with people who share your passion of reading, and maybe share the same love of the same authors and genres, but maybe not. I mean, I think me and Kim read different things, and there's a little bit of crossover, like there is with lots of people. Everyone's got some crossover, you know. When people come on me and Dave's show and we say what we're reading, we don't always read the same things. There is some crossover sometimes, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's about that love of reading. It's nice when there is a very strong crossover, obviously, but if there isn't, we still can talk about reading. We can talk about whether we like first person, third person. Do we like stuff with a bit of adventure? Do we like reflective stuff? Do we like certain types of prose? Do we like older stuff? Do we like newer stuff? There's all sorts of discussions and debates and interesting interactions you can have based around reading. And it's not necessarily about having a strong crossover, but it will happen as well, because there's lots of us. There's loads of people doing Booktube, and they're different ages, different backgrounds, different countries, different experiences. And also, you know, it kind of informs what you read as well, and it gives you a different perspective on the love of reading that you know, all these books behind me and around me, surrounding me, they have a relationship with you that has gone for decades, and then you start tweaking that relationship through Booktube. You know, I've started changing some of the genres I read. There's books I'll talk about, like I've just here is the Fritz Leiber Sword series. I'm reading them again, and it's just great to read them again and have a different perspective, because or the same, or even the same perspective. You can say, well, I still love them as much as I did, which is a lovely thing, and I wouldn't have done that necessarily if it wasn't for Booktube, because I was curious to see if I'd have loved it as much. And you do change your reading. You know, I'm reading this one because it was voted for by people who replied to my request for votes for what I should read next by Stephen King. And I'm going to complete this, but I probably would DNF it, I think, if it wasn't for Booktube. And I might not even picked it up, because I might have thought, well, I don't have to read every book, and probably just gone to the ones that seem more appealing. So Booktube is kind of changing your reading. I heard about Sayaka Murata through Booktube. You know, I didn't even know who she was until Booktube, and I really like her, you know. We've recently had a fantastic discussion on the live stream about hitchhikers. You know, there's loads of ways that Booktube helps your reading, helps you appreciate your reading, helps you appreciate your favorite authors, helps you expand your reading, helps you reflect and be more aware of your reading, and it makes these great friendships. So I haven't even talked about the issues now, and I'm on 13 minutes, and I'm not going to edit this. So the whole thing about why do we quit. So I'll cover these things now. So I know Shelley and a few others talked about burnout, that you can get too bogged down in your own demands on your own channel, and you feel like you can't do it anymore, and you can't keep up with a schedule. And I would repeat what some of those people have said. You don't have to do a schedule. If you change your schedule, you can put up an announcement if you feel like you have to, saying, well, I've been doing 2 a week, but I'm going to do 2 a month now. I don't think anyone would turn off necessarily. They'd go, okay, cool, I won't look out for those videos as much, and I'll appreciate them when they're there. I don't really do a schedule, but I've, over the last, I don't know, 3 years, 3 years probably, I've just put tons and tons of videos up. I just keep putting far more than I was planning to. When I first started doing Booktube, I remember asking some people who watched Booktube, what's the average length of a video and how often do you think I should do it? And my advice was 20 minutes, 1 every 2 weeks. That was my advice. And I kind of modeled myself around that a little bit for a few months, and I just kept bunging videos up there, and now I put up quite a lot, possibly too many. But again, I'm not necessarily doing this correctly. I'm just doing it as I want to do it. And I think that's a big point I wanted to make. You have to do this the way that works for you. This is a very personal thing. You know, this is Booktube, and yet most of my viewers, if they watch my videos, will know I love the Muppets and they know I love the Twilight Zone. Both of those aren't book things. They probably will know some of the authors I love as well. Probably, possibly. But if you watch my channel a lot, you'll definitely know that I love the Muppets. So You do what you want. Make it personal. Talk about stuff that's not related to that. Talk about stuff. I overshare. You know far too much. If you watch my channel, like, you know far too much about my life than you need to know. But again, that's my style. That if I do a tag and I'm going to talk about something that maybe hits me hard or something I want to tackle in the tag, I'll be honest about it, and I'll tell you something about my childhood or something about something that's been a big challenge for me, or you know, chronic pain I've got, you know, anything like that I might start talking about. And it's and I kind of do it because I feel like if you're honest, then something you said might reach someone. It might resonate with someone. So I do think it's worth doing, and I'm quite happy with it. I don't mind saying more about myself than I need to. Some people want to keep themselves a bit guarded and just talk about books, which is absolutely fine. That makes sense. But for me, I'm a bit more like that, so I don't mind that. So I do think the burnout thing, you can control that because it's your channel. It's personal. You do what you want. And if you need to take a break from it, you can. So I know Mike talks about that. You can take a break from it. And to be honest, my life is going to get a little bit complicated from next week. And I don't know how many videos I will. I've said that I was chucking out loads of videos. I don't know if I will be able to do that in the same way. And I haven't got that many scheduled up. I usually have tons and tons scheduled up. But this summer, I didn't do as many in advance. So if you go back to last summer, I had, I don't know, I had about 30 videos scheduled up. I think now I've only got about 15, which is not a lot because some of them are the 100 album thing, the last Twilight Zone ones, this bookshelf essentials thing I was doing. So, you know, there's not tons. So I will have to do some to keep the content interesting, I guess. But I'm aware that there won't be as many. And I'm not going to beat myself up about that. You know, if it happens, then that's cool. There's also, like, if I'm reading less, see, I'm aware of my hair's crap. But if I'm reading less, that's the other thing that I think I will be reading less. So there's less to talk about if you're trying to center on books on your channel. So that's a thing as well. I mean, I'm also aware that I'm committed to being a host for an event, and I haven't started that event this month yet. So, you know, there are things that you could easily get bogged down with, criticize yourself for. But you need to let yourself go and just relax and just go, you know, let yourself off, you know, give yourself a break. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Never mind. This is Booktube. It's YouTube. This is something we do for a hobby. People use the word hobby, and it is really, it's a hobby. It's just a little bit of fun, and it's free. We haven't lost any money by putting a video up. It's free to put videos up. You know, it's a very cool service that YouTube give us because literally it costs us nothing. So that's another thing that I think is funny when people moan about the adverts or moan about whether they're making much money and who's making the money from my videos. It's like, well, it's free to do, so you're not losing anything. I do think it's a really like cool thing that we can do this without it costing us anything. So that's true. But it is a personal thing, and I think that's really important for the burnout idea, that you can control that if you're willing to accept the idea that it can be a relaxed thing. You don't have to do a certain thing. It's your channel. You do what you want, which is also true about competing with other channels and comparing yourself to other channels, which is absolutely natural. You know, if you just in everyday life, you're always comparing yourself to other people. Always, you know, you've got to be very arrogant to not do that at all. Everyone does it. You know, the way you look, the way you speak, how articulate you are. You know, in some circles you might be comparing yourself to the job you've got and what other people's jobs you've got. If you're in particular, you know, social circles, you might be comparing yourself economically to someone. I don't know, but the point is we all do it. We all compare ourselves to other people. But on this thing, this platform, Booktube, it's the recipe for disaster, because some things are quite random, some things you can't help. So if you've grown up with a particular book taste, it might not be for everyone. If there's certain ways you do things, it's not necessarily going to work in the same way it might work with someone else that does things a different way. But you have to do it your way. You can't fake it and pretend to be someone else. Sometimes it seems like, I don't know if this is true, but it seems like there's a real popularity for younger booktubers who are reading younger books and have got a particular way of delivering their videos. If you can't do that and you're not that age, you can't do anything about that. Do it your way, and you can't compare yourself, because it's just, and that would just make it a nightmare. And it's not going to do you any good. Compare yourself to yourself, if you like. So you could look at a video from 2 years ago. Am I doing it better? Or, you can do that if you want. Or there's nothing wrong with looking at your analytics to see which videos are doing well. But I'd say don't obsess about that. Just do that just out of interest. If you feel a little bit like de-stressed and casual about it, don't do it in a stressed way, because that's, again, a recipe for disaster. So, don't give yourself all that pressure, because you don't have to. This should be fun. If it's not, I'll say it again, if it's not fun, don't do it. This is turning out to be quite a long video, so I thought this was going to be really short. But yeah, don't compare yourself to other people. It really isn't a good idea, even though we do it, but just try and quell that. Try and resist the urge, and don't think about someone else who might be doing something really similar, but doing really well with it. Then, it could be that your channel is going to blow up, or one video you do does really, really well, and enjoy that. Enjoy the fewer things you have, the fewer subs and views you get because of what they are. If you get lovely comments, you get, if you, whatever views you get, it's a success, because you put that video out there and you felt good enough to put it out, and you've had some people responding or whatever, it's not about the level of success, but it is natural to think like that, but try not to, because it isn't a good idea. The algorithm, it's a weird thing, and I think there are some people that give you advice about that and say, oh, well, if this happens, but some of that stuff you can't help, because I remember, I think it was Murphy Napier, I think, that said on a video that if you have a low view for a video, it'll affect how much YouTube shows your video to other people. But you can't control which ones have a low video count anyway, and if you want to put it out, keep it out there. Don't take something off if you believe in the video. So I have taken videos off before because I've watched something and thought, oh, I don't really like that video. And that happened recently. I did my book review of Star Smashers of the Galaxy Rangers, which I enjoyed the book, and I'm going to talk about that book with Gavin, see, a friend I've made on Booktube. I did a review about it, and I didn't like the video. I kind of watched it again like 6 hours later, and I thought, God, what am I doing? I just thought it was a bit repetitive, wasn't that interesting. I just took it off. So it wasn't because of low views, because it wasn't on there for very long anyway, but I didn't like the video. So don't worry about the algorithm, because it's a strange beast that I don't think anybody really understands. And the algorithm will help you sometimes, and it might make one video of yours blow up like mad. But I don't think you can preempt the negative stuff. The positive thing, yeah, it might happen, but I don't think you can try and avoid the algorithm not helping you. But you can maybe hope that one day it randomly does help you. That might happen. So, yeah, keep it personal, enjoy it, and if you're not enjoying it, don't do it anymore. And remember, it's free, and connect with other people, engage with other people. I think that was what I was going to say. There's no notes here, so please comment below if you think any of that makes sense. And my last comment is saying how wonderful this thing is. I do enjoy it. I love the friendships I've made. I love communicating with the people who comment. It's always an interesting thing. The fact that there's so many response videos means that there's this sort of long conversation between people doing different videos. And there's going to be some similarity, but I do think this is a great thing. And the live streams are a great thing. The fact that I can share my passion for all these different things. The video I'm going to do tonight about one of my favorite authors. Can't wait to do it, and hopefully you'll see that in a little while. So and I've got this is a whole folder of lyrics, but we've got Jack on there. Another thing that happened recently, this just reminded me, was the Nightmare Before Christmas quiz that I did with that Elaine hosted. That was fantastic. So it's cool. It's a great thing. All right, I could waffle for ages, and this is already way too long, or longer than I thought it was going to be. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Thanks for all the support. And I have put on my descriptions, I've got a buy me a coffee thing, because I thought people might want a tip now and again. But again, it hasn't happened. Never mind, it doesn't matter. But I thought I'd mention it because it seems the right thing to do to mention it. But oh no, actually, sorry, I won't sign off straight away, because there is this thing about money, and someone said that if you're worried about earning money, then you're going to worry about your numbers. And I don't think that's fair, because I think everyone worries about their numbers, and it's not necessarily tied to whether or not you're earning money. And I think most people on here aren't doing it for the money. But once you do get monetized, then you do like the fact it's slowly going up by like, I don't know, £1 every couple of weeks. So it's a nice thing, but I don't think people really most people don't direct their channel towards that. So I do think that's worth saying. That some people make assumptions about people who are monetized, and I don't think that's necessarily true. But it's nice if that is happening. Obviously, it's a nice bit of pocket money now and again. But yeah, I thought I don't want to end with that, but I wanted to include that. But the big point is make it personal, so that you won't burn out. You can change what you're doing according to what your life is like and what you want to talk about, and enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying it, then yeah, give yourself a break or come off it, because you know it is supposed to be enjoyable, and it is enjoyable. It's a lovely place with lots and lots and lots of lovely people. Stay curious, everybody.